Started a video and all of a sudden a couple just walked past my house. How are these people just walking around during the day? Don't you have motorcycles to build or something to break in your garage like the rest of us? Anyway, so I was out here the other day trying to figure out the spacers on the rear sprocket on my chopper project, and my power ratchet died. It served me for 18 months. You know, what do you want? It lost all torque and ended up just being a ratchet. I'm like, this is getting ridiculous. So I go inside to go shop around, and I got the coolest freaking message. So, like, literally within minutes of me doing that, I get this message from YouTube saying, go to this new thing. There are people out there looking to help with your projects, et cetera, et cetera. And I go and I look, and Lowe's is on the list. And you click a link and says, hey, I need something. And then all you do is, hey, I need something. I have a YouTube channel. I would love some help. And so you put in, I need a new power ratchet. And they replied, cool, here's a gift card. I'm blown away. Now, Lowe's is my store. It's the one I go to right down the street. It's closest to my house. I've always had good service. They have the stuff that I like to buy, DeWalt and all that other stuff. I'm blown away. I'm so thankful. Anyways, they sent me this code. I used it, and I went to go pick up my brand new DeWalt freaking power ratchet. Bad on me that I was forgetting to do the video. Here I am about to use it. So the issue I had, yeah, I know those 5 bolts aren't the same, is there's a spacer on here that came with the kit that it turns out I don't need. So I got to pull the sprocket back off, because that's what you do with a custom motorcycle project. You put it together, then you take it apart. Then you put it together, then you take it apart. You put it together, you take it apart. You put it together and you take it apart. It's like a 9-step process of doing the same thing over and over again, especially when you deal with spacers and stuff. So the spacer on this rear sprocket's floating around too much. So I need to take that off, put it back to all the way inward, and my new DeWalt is gonna get that done. So this is the good one. I think it retails for like $250, something like that. But it's both 3/8 and 1/2 inch anvil. I mean, like, you can change the anvil out and run either one. Freaking badass. Now, the tool alone is that it doesn't come with batteries, but when I bought mine, they had a special where it came with 2 batteries, like, for free. So I don't know if it's going to be happening when you need yours, but if you need one of these, this is the time to get it. You get 2 batteries for free. It already had the charger for my other DeWalt, so let's pop this open. Get to what you can tell, but I am not a real influencer. This is all, it's all a big facade. All right, so as you'd expect, we have a tool and instructions, which are for losers, and then you have the other anvil that I will hopefully not lose. There's the 1/2 inch, so that'll go in the toolbox with my others, because what I'm using today, oh, it's magnetic too, look at that, is 3/8, so no need there. So we'll pop this out. I already have the batteries, it's already charged, so we can get some stuff done. Sorry I haven't gotten to work yet. I've just been doing this for the last couple of minutes. That feels significantly different than my old one. My old one went and then nothing happened, but it's also pretty lightweight. All right, let's do the thing. You ever get the feeling the wheel is just gonna, like, fly? Oh, wait. Cracker. Holy crap. I had to lay on her for a minute to break it open. Forgot the red Loctite. That was really way too pleasing. Something I just noticed on this, it's basically a single wrench size. You just press there. I'm not gonna do this with one hand. And the anvil just pops out. And then it's like, that's friggin' wild. I never looked for a socket for 10 minutes, tear the garage apart full of rage and anger, and it was in my pocket, like, the whole time. Like, it was right there. Yep, okay, so let's take this one bolt out, and we'll change these out to 5 new stainless. And yes, it's an aluminum hub, so I have to use anti-seize, I know that, but I disappoint myself sometimes. This was the culprit. So it was about that far off from the rear sprocket line up at the front. So I've taken the sprocket off, removed the spacer, put it back on, and knew in advance that the bolts I had were going to be too long, because the ones I had were butting up against, well, not butting up, but within a millimeter butting up against the hub with that in. So if I took these out, it'd be too long. So I went with a bolt slightly shorter and switched to stainless, but I put anti-seize and stuff in there because I believe that hub's aluminum. So you can't just run stainless into aluminum without putting something between them. So that's done. We'll use the new toy to drive these in. Woo! She gave her the onions. I'll hit it with a manual ratchet in a second just to, like, absolutely. Well, actually, I can use it with this one. right, so I'll stand the wheel up now and give them one last crank, you know, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, that whole thing. And then that'll be done, and we'll put it back together for the 17th time to see if she lines up now. And if so, then we'll start putting the chain on so I can call that done. Well, we fixed one problem in that those are lined up now. Now I got a new one, because now I took some spacer out of this side, and now we got way not enough clearance on those brake rotor bolts there. And when I put the caliper on, the calipers floated out about that far. So, all right, we gotta put the longer spacer in there and then figure out the issue here, because this is binding up. When I pull it all the way back, right, in the frame, we got the wheels aligned right, all that sort of stuff. But then, I don't know, it's just, it really is like a just try it and see what happens kind of thing until you get it all lined out. I admit it's the next day. I do that a lot. I just sort of like, I do a little bit and all of a sudden it's like 3 days later. It happens, you know, I have to go pay the bills. So, gotten quite a bit done and solved a few problems. The whole theme of this video could be like fixing problems, because that's what you're gonna be doing all day when you build a custom bike. Spacing. Don't mind the oil that came out of the transmission, it's fine. So, took a lot of time lining up the wheel and tire with the right spacers on either side, and I got it down to what I think is 99.9% perfect, which is 80% more perfect than I've ever had anything in my life. So, you know, there's that. Did decide that I don't want this rear fender. I can do better for maybe like 180 bucks, 190 bucks. So I ordered from Lowe, I can't remember what it's called, but their fender that's got a little more of a curve to it and maybe a ½ inch more narrow, and it's got this nice kind of dovetail on the end. Not like, no, I said that wrong. Not like a soft tail dovetail, but I mean like it comes to a rounded little tip, just the tip. So it'll be a little nicer looking. The radius is a little less. Now what that means is I put all this work into making those spacers the right length and all that stuff, and I'm gonna have to make something new, but you know, such is life. So I'm gonna change the rear fender. Got that lined out. I made the chain yesterday. Didn't film that because I'm sure there's a million videos on it, but I had the chain but cut it to length so it's good with my drive sprocket there. I need a 2-inch washer. Actually, a viewer told me this, you might need that much of a hairline of an adjustment because I got this. So I need to float that out, you know, like a washer's thickness will give me what I need. I could pull the sprocket out and then bolt it to that nut, but then you got a spacer back there with like nothing pressing up against it. So I'm gonna find a washer that's the right size and put that between the sprocket and the spacer, and that way it'll be snug. So when I drive that in and lock it down, it'll be good. So that needs to be done, but I have the chain done. Sprockets are lined up. I don't know if you can see from here. They're lined up perfectly, so that's good. I assembled the inner primary today. I got a new inner primary. There's this old, you know, age-old struggle, right? Rechroming or getting new. I had a whole box of stuff to rechrome and just decided I kind of want to get new instead, because some of the stuff, no offense, is very 90s. This is a really nice looking Drag Specialties inner primary. It's more angular, you know, and stuff, so it's going to look pretty cool. New bearings, seals, all that stuff already driven in. That's all fine and dandy. Let's see, what else? Outer primary I have still have to get. Forward controls I had, but I ordered a new set, and I've already said that. That'll be here tomorrow, so I don't have to chrome anything now. I basically just have to go to powder. So I'm going to put the forward controls and kickstand on when they get here sometime this weekend, so I can actually make sure the kickstand is long enough. I don't think it's going to be. So that 6-over front end is going to pop the front end up quite a bit, which is going to make her lay over a lot more, and I don't want to live life with a little puck of 2x4 in my pocket everywhere I go. So I'm going to check that when I put the kickstand on. At that point, actually, when I put the forward controls and kickstand on, this can come off the jack. I mean, the engine mount bolts are in, the oil tank's in there. Transmission is not bolted on, but it's got studs down through the plate, so it's not going to go anywhere. I did mock up the inner primary, by the way, and that all fits fine and dandy. So yeah, I mean, we're pretty much good to go. I just got to get a few more things done, and then I can get it off the ground. Next step after all the mock-up is done, which feels like forever, will be to pull the motor, trans, and oil tank back out of it. Leave the forward controls on. Leave it together, I think, and then take it to Brent over at Quality Handmade, because what he's going to do is a nice job of welding in tank bunks for me with a pretty bead. instead of bleh, which is what it would look like when I did it. So he's going to weld in tank bungs for my tank, and he's going to make my seat pan. That's a whole process. He's actually going to take a cardboard, he'll make a cardboard sort of, what's what I'm looking for, pattern, and actually make it out of steel. And he'll line it up to where there'll be a cutout for this, for that bolt. He'll use the front swivel, right? I have to order one of those just to have that for him. So that'll mount on the seat, and then we'll use this bolt here when she's not giant king and queen, swivel all the way forward to get to So when that sits down, it'll be like that. He is going to have to leave some space, though, for Jeff, because Jeffrey Phipps, when he makes the cover, we learned this from last time, you know, you make a pan that sits perfectly, but then when you cover it and wrap it under the bottom and, you know, either rivet it down or however you do it, you sit down and you've lost a 1/16 of an inch, and now this hole's off. So we're going to have to just sort of give it some space, you know what I mean, to where it rises up a little bit so that Jeff, when he puts the pad on, the padding and the wrap and all that stuff, when it goes down, it'll go on right. So Jeff's about the best in the business. I'm not worried about that. And then what else? Oh, my license plate mount is an axle mount, and I just don't like the way it's going to jive because the axle is flat. It's got, you know, so it slide into the actual frame and then glide forward and backwards. So what I'm going to do is weld a bung on that is basically a post so that I can slip the license plate mount on over that. It'll look fine when it's on. It sounds goofy, but I'm basically going to make a fake axle right here so I can stick that on. It'll also move the license plate further forward and down, which will look nice. And it'll help me hide the wires. Because when it was out here, the wiring would have to be a little more exposed around, you know, the spinny, toothy thing. Whereas if I have it back here, I might even be able to run it inside the frame, but I have an idea for that that'll make it more interesting. I actually want to braid the wires, and if I don't have 3 to make a braid, I'm going to run a dead wire, braid them, and then I'm going to wrap the braid around the frame, and I have cloth wiring to go to the light, so that'll be kind of cool. Little touches are fun. If I can do it, I may as well. I went ahead and threw the grips on, and my really cool frickin' clutch lever. Really excited about that. And my prism supply, throttle, that's done. I got a throttle cable, I still got a clutch cable. There's all kinds of stuff I still need. I need a new voltage rectifier. This bike had a really cool way that the oil filter and voltage rectifier mounted on the front. Maybe you've seen it before, I just hadn't. It's pretty slick. It's this plate that mounts on the front of the engine mounts, sticks out forward. The oil filter goes in the bottom and the voltage rectifier goes. Maybe that's common. I don't remember seeing that, you know, so the oil filter will be down here. And if I get one of those really cool reusable filters that has fins on it, I would imagine that's going to help with oil cooling quite a bit. So I lost my light. So I'm going to look into one of those. I mean, a regular oil filter is $17. One of those is, you know, I think $150, something like that. But I also hear they work really well. The Harley racing team uses them because when you're on full blast on a regular filter, the bypass kicks in, so you're not filtering anything. On these things, that they don't bypass like that, so it's always being filtered. So yeah, so I think we're really getting there. Like, shit's getting real, if you know what I'm saying. Headlight. I ordered a new old school 4.5-inch bucket, like a bait style, that I think I'm going to ground the light to the inside of the bucket, install a switch to the bucket so I have high-low. I wasn't going to run a high, but Bill was telling me that high works really well when you suddenly have a wiring problem and low doesn't. So sometimes high will work when low doesn't, so it's a backup. So I might run a switch on the actual bucket hidden somewhere best I can, because we'll never have to use it. And then we'll run one wire, because we'll ground to the bucket, we'll run the high-low switch on the bucket, so really you just need, you know, positive coming out the side. All right, so for the millionth time, thanks to Lowe's, man. That was cool. That was really cool. It really helped me out, because when you're in the middle of one of these things and buying parts here and there, buying a new tool all of a sudden that's not cheap is not something you want to do. So I really appreciate that. That helped out a lot. So comment down below any questions, anything you see that's going to be an issue. I'm looking at my ignition wiring and am happy that I went ahead and went to single fire coil, because there's 3 posts and I had 3 wires. This thing's already set up for single fire, so that'll work. I don't know why I just went off on that tangent, but looking at that going, that'll help. I also have to wire up a Vose, which will advance and retard timing naturally based on throttle input, so that'll be nice. I'm gonna run one of those. I'm gonna try and make this a rider, man, as much as you can. Reliable, nice, smooth. Well, smooth. It's a stroker. It's not gonna be that smooth. But anyway, comment down below anything. Any ideas you have, any questions, concerns, whatever. Comment down below. I do read the comments, so I love you all to death. Take care of each other. We'll talk real soon.